Off my keyboard, Dave.
So I was going to ask our wonderful audience for a moment of silence for Beaker.
Aw,
and everything because I love that cat. When I saw that post, I almost cried too because now he's up there with Shadow and all my other cats and dogs and everything. But it was fun watching The Legend of Traveling TARDIS with Beaker on and everything.
Yes.
And stuff. So I would ask everybody a moment of silence, as many seconds. We'll do 5 seconds, and then we'll go right into the birthdays because that'll be the happy news. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So, dear Beaker, please show us you're here, if anything.
No.
No.
No, I don't want to knock crap over my stuff.
Because we all miss you and love you.
He would actually push the computer over. That's how silly he is.
I know, because I'm waiting for the camera to fall, because I know Beaker would be the final say tonight. He would be like, well, I left you now. I'm going to leave you with a memory to be on video one last time, you know? So, yeah.
That's
what I'm saying.
That's Tom and his microphone.
I know, that's Tom. But I'm like I said, guys, if you see a cat on screen and we don't have our cats with us right now, or if the camera gets a little funny or anything, that's probably Beaker saying thank you guys for all those years. And this is my last appearance on The Legend of Traveling TARDIS for Beaker, you know? But I'm going to miss that cat. He was funny.
He was.
And everything and stuff. So now, oh boy. We're going to get into the birthdays, and I'm going to start with by date order. So on June 27th, Shannon Purser from Stranger Things, and I forgot the characters. I haven't seen this. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have not watched that show because I don't have Netflix. And
really?
she turns 28. I do know that one of the actors that she has worked with eat at the Candlelight Inn here in Scarsdale, New York. He actually lives in Scarsdale. He was a regular there and stuff, and he worked with her. I don't know his name because I'm still finding all this out now and everything. But wasn't she was the one with the glasses and killed off in the first season, right? As someone was explaining to me and stuff, because I thought she made a comeback in the series, the way everybody was explaining it.
They wanted her to come back. They had a hashtag going called Justice for Barb.
Okay.
For her character to come back because they thought they did her dirty, and they did. In my opinion, they did her character dirty.
From what I heard, yeah, she got robbed about a few times on that series.
But she went over to do, I forgot, what was it, the Jughead series, what was it, Riverdale or something like that?
Okay.
Yeah. Riverdale. Yeah, Riverdale. She did a couple of other shows, and I don't know if that would be amazing if somehow she came back in the final series, which is supposed to premiere, I think, this year?
Yes. It's supposed to be. They're finally getting everything, all the loose ends tied up from, because everybody that's watched the series has told me I missed out on a lot, but when you don't have Netflix, it's a little hard and everything. You can't just keep adding another streaming service and everything.
It is a very good series. I highly recommend. Guys, what do you think of Stranger Things? Since we're recommending shows.
Well, with me first on this, I was going to tell you guys that I grew up with the premise of this because when I found out what it's based on, I actually was raised in Long Island near the Montauk Project.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I understand the premise of the show. I just lived it in real life during the 80s and everything. And stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Is it basically similar, or is it more going towards alien type? That's what I'm saying.
I only saw the first season of it. I'm not even sure I saw the whole first season of it out of timing. No, I loved it. It was great. I have intended to go back to it numerous times and just haven't gotten a chance. Same thing with Riverdale. I watched the first 2 seasons of it, and that was all that was available, and then I never got back to it. But it is definitely
it's one to watch.
Yeah, they're definitely fun watches. You have to know what you're walking into. You know, don't expect more than gold out of them. But
Stranger Things is a series that will hook you. It will. I mean, you will get it.
Because I know there's a Broadway play coming out. There's all these other things that are like the prequel to it and stuff. But it's like, to try to watch a full season, I don't have the stuff to watch it unless I can purchase all the DVDs. And that's a strange media because nobody ever can find a DVD anymore.
Well, I guess I caught this picture. This was at Spooky Empire a long time ago, and she had just left Stranger Things. This was just like she just departed from Stranger Things. So there you are. Happy birthday, Shannon.
And then it's a toss-up, but I'm going to go with our very own Lila Ward, who I still cannot believe she's going to be 74 years old. She was...
And she wears it well.
I know. That's why I'm like in shock right now, because I'm looking at all of this and everything from what I'm seeing on the page and stuff. And everyone knows she was the second Romana, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she was the second Romana. And I actually was introduced to Doctor Who from PBS, and the one full episode of Doctor Who that I actually got to watch was her and the fourth Doctor having time skips. And I still don't really know the premise on that episode. I don't remember if that was the Da Vinci episode or that was the one where they were sitting in the Paris Cafe and they kept getting the time skips.
Where they were stuck in the time loop, or
they were sitting at the table and she kept saying, "Boy, my head is getting dizzy," and she did the nose. And it was where they kept saying it's like time is repeating on itself. They were in the Paris Cafe. I don't know if that was the Da Vinci one where they had it's a fake.
That would be City of Death if it was in Paris.
That would be City of Death. And that's the famous one between the two of them.
Because PBS was very limited on their runs of what they showed. And it was either a full episode of Sylvester right after and then this. And everything was the first one I saw. And then after that, it was a Hartnell for the rest of the time because that's all they could get.
And if I'm not mistaken, Tom, this is the first marriage in Doctor Who before granddad and grandson and doctor's.
That's what I was going to ask you. She did marry him, right?
She did marry Tom Baker, and I think it lasted a year and a half, maybe not even that.
Doctor Who's biggest monster, Tom Baker.
Tom Baker. That's if you asked Lila Ward, she would have told you, "Yeah, who's your favorite monster?" And she would go Tom Baker.
But she wears it well, and I like that thing she does with her nose when she does it to the doctor and everything, because that was pretty cool. Watching that as a kid and everything.
She doesn't look a day over 20-something.
What happened?
She doesn't look a day over 20-something.
Yeah. No, she doesn't. She does not age. You want to talk an original vampire? There you go. She's a vampire. Okay. And then we have next on the same day, who is only 3 years younger than me but has the same name, real name, is Felicia Day, and we all know her from everything: The Guild, Supernatural, Eureka, Buffy, you name it. She's been in it and everything. And her daughter Calliope is so cute and everything. She comes to New York Comic Con. She's been everywhere and anywhere. You get no stone unturned, you'll find her everywhere. And right now, it's just I'm trying to see what she has coming up next because she is always doing tons of stuff and everything. I'm wondering if they're going to bring her back for the Buffy revival, but at the moment, let me see what the last thing I'm looking at it right now. The last thing she did for everybody in film, what was it? Was the Dungeons and Dragons 20-side dice tavern. That's the only thing it looks like in 2024 at stage 42 here in New York City for the Improv. But otherwise, not much and everything. The last time I saw her was in 22 at New York Comic Con when she was releasing the official Lord of the Rings podcast and other situations like in past that I've talked with her and everything. But she's really nice. She just has a line out the door. You only get to say hi and bye.
That's true.
But otherwise, that's it for the birthdays. Right now is another surprise. If fans of, and I'm going to have to say this right, Franz Ferdinand. Did I say it right, guys?
Yes.
You guys love Franz Ferdinand. You got treated in Glastonbury Music Festival because Peter Capaldi, our wonderful doctor, joined on stage to sing out one of the songs with him. And I'm trying to figure out kind of song and everything because people are telling me it was called, where was it? Really? No, they don't. Oh, man. He sang out with them. It was Take Me Out. And it was a good performance. I tried to get you guys pictures of the situation, like everything that was going on with them, how they surprised the audience and everything. But due to copyrights, it's so hard to get like the actual shots that aren't just issued to the press. And when you try to download them, they're like, cannot be downloaded. So I wish I could have, especially the video I was trying to get. Plus I sent another video and he was just impressed with with I cannot pronounce it, with Franz, and how he has it was more of a welcome like he wanted to do this. He was having so much fun that day, but it was hot. And I don't blame him because it's hot here too. Everything.
He was dressed in a suit jacket and everything. Like he was
red shirt, red, like, and I was like, are you kidding me? You're dying in this heat. But otherwise, he had fun and everything, and he's more than willing to do it again. So that's it for the news right now. But I would like to introduce Sean from Our Philosophy, because we have a new segment as part of the news. He would like to talk to us about the ratings. So, Sean, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we have the numbers in for the Doctor Who Series 15 or Season 2 or whatever you want to call them ratings. Mind you, these are UK ratings, and the way I talk about ratings is not raw numbers, because everything that is released in the UK is competing with TikTok and YouTube and streaming and all that stuff. So rather than looking at numbers, raw viewing numbers for how they were doing 10 years ago for Doctor Who versus how they're doing now or any other show, what I do is I basically say, okay, how is the show stacking up against everything else? And then there's iPlayer ratings in here as well for the weekly ranking. And, even if that is some sort of unfair advantage because people can watch it twice, everything else has that advantage too. So I want to see directly how Doctor Who is doing. So with that in mind, Doctor Who Series 15, Season 2, the numbers came in, and so they're kind of all over the place. So for this season, we have 8 episodes, first of all, 8 whole episodes, not counting the Christmas special. So as far as weekly rankings, I'm talking everything like the Barb ratings for the whole week for all television programs. Half of the episodes ranked in the 20s. Okay, so that means, they're just less than number 20, a little bit lower than number 20, but all the episodes in that first half of the season, the first 4 episodes were in the 20s. The second half of the season was a little bit weirder. You had 2 episodes that ranked in the 30s, 1 episode that ranked in the teens, and 1 episode that ranked in the top 10. So if you count all of those together and average them, it's about number 23. Between number 23 and 24, that's about how the show ranked as far as all the episodes combined, all the episodes averaged. So if you're wondering which specific episodes, how did they do? Well, the worst episode came in at number 35, and that was unfortunately The Story in the Engine, because a lot of people said that was one of the better episodes. The episode that did the best was the Interstellar Song Contest. I have a theory about why that episode did well. It's Dugadoo. I think that's the reason. I think when Dugadoo started playing,
that's your cue.
everyone started tuning in when that happened. And if you're wondering how the show finished on the final episode, The Reality War, it came in at about number 18. So with the show averaging number 23 or 24 for the rankings, if you're wondering how that does or how that stacks up to the other seasons, that's pretty much in line with how the show's been doing for the past 10 years. So Capaldi's first season was going up in probably the 10s, I would think, for Series 8. Then Series 9 and Series 10, they were like in the 20s pretty much on average. Then Jodie Whittaker's season kind of went up a little bit when she started out. Then it kind of ended up in the 20s again. Then the David Tennant specials came along, and they were in the ranking near the top 10, all 3 of those. And Shudi's first episode as well, also ranked near the top 10. And now the show's settling down in the 20s again. So this idea that like the show's ratings have fallen off of a cliff, what these numbers reveal is that's kind of a fantasy. The show is doing about how it's been doing for 10 years. So it definitely didn't get a big boost from Disney. But if the show is falling off of a cliff, then every program is falling off of a cliff because Netflix is a thing and TikTok is a thing. But that's how the Doctor Who latest season did in terms of ratings. And if you're wondering how the Christmas special did, it was actually number 6 for the week. So Shudi's Christmas special did pretty well too.
Now, do you have the other ratings in front of you there, Sean?
The other, what do you mean?
What else was in those any given week? Do you happen to have that right in front of you right now, or not?
I don't have it right in front of me, but I might know if you were just curious about a specific episode.
On any given episode, really, how many places above it was Coronation Street, which is often one of the top rated shows 5 days a week, and so that throws ratings way off on a curve.
Right. I'm not sure. I know Coronation Street is like really big there. I know people call it Corey sometimes too, because like it has. I know that whenever I was looking at the Barb ratings, though, especially when I was looking at Series 14, Coronation Street was always ranking alongside Doctor Who, and it was doing well. So I know that, but I'm not sure specifically how it did for those. Why do you ask?
Just as a context thing, because if in 1 week, Doctor Who shows 1 episode, and Coronation Street shows 5 episodes, and is being ranked on 5 episodes. That's potentially 1 show bumping
like
back,
displacing it 5 places potentially if it's more popular. Exactly.
And there's several other reality shows that are in there that are multiple times a week that were generally higher ranked, from what I saw. That were generally higher ranked, but again, those are knocking them down 2, 3, 4, 5 places.
Yeah.
For one things.
Yeah, and one last detail before we move on for Classic Who, even during some of what people call the golden age, wasn't doing particularly well. Sometimes it was considered good if it ranked like in the top 40, and because there was just a lot of programs at the time. So the show nowadays averaging in the 20s, that's a lot better than some past eras too. So I don't know what Disney's going to do about that. And again, these are just UK ratings, but in the States when Doctor Who's doing really well, it was also ranking in the 20s. So we'll see.
Now, playing devil's advocate on things, because I know the naysayers are going for the overnights, but with the way that things are now, I mean, we can't. It's really, we don't have the Nielsen ratings anymore. We're going by what people tell us. Also, Disney Plus have they even revealed their ratings yet at all?
No, and
Not
I don't
completely.
know if they're going to.
Gotcha.
Remember, they actually were supposed to have more episodes. That's the thing. They signed up for 26 episodes, and we only get 8.
Well,
so
it's a total.
Thing.
When they say 26 episodes, does that mean also
across the seasons?
Season?
First season was supposed to be 8 episodes.
And
it was supposed to be really 8. Right, it was supposed to be 8 Christmas, another 8. It's supposed to be broken down that way because usually a season is 13 episodes.
Right.
And everything, unless they were incorporating The Land Between the War and the Sea as the extra episodes.
Yes, and they're also incorporating the Tenet specials as well. So that's 3 more right there as well.
Mm-hmm. So you got to figure what they're up to now to honor the contract before they decide what else they're going to do.
Yeah, Land in the War and the Sea.
I would love some sort of revelation about U.S. ratings too for all of that stuff because I'm just in the dark. I only know UK ratings because the UK.
Because like I showed you guys, it was only just posted yesterday. They were doing reshoots for The Land Between the War and the Sea. And that's as far as we know. It still has not aired yet.
Well, thanks for letting me do that, guys. I had a lot of fun going over that. Oh, and Christian, I didn't tell you this, but I'm also sorry to hear about your loss. I wasn't aware of that until you said that. So I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I mean, he was 21 years old, so I'm not. And, toward the end of his life, it was a little bit painstaking. It's just like he's not doing well. So
how did Summer take it, though?
I think she's not taking it well.
Oh,
because you can tell she's more pouty than normal.
I was going to warn you. Yeah.
Now, Sean, I have a question. And when it comes, and I just wanted your opinion on this, if we don't have, when it comes to the naysayers, they're looking at the overnights more. And they do have a bit of an argument. It's just like, if it was more popular, there should be more people coming in, especially now that it's Disney Plus. But Disney Plus is not a part of that. Also, the naysayers are going like, they're reading off of what? +5, +7. What differentiates that? And how does that differentiate from like something in overnights? If that question makes sense.
Yeah. So I think for the 3 Tenet specials, you could really look at the overnights and see how those ranked because at that time you had a simulcast sort of like on BBC and then all over the world. Even then, assuming that just pulling a number out of nowhere, just half the people are watching on iPlayer, that's not going to be reflected in the overnight ratings. I don't think it is.
No, they aren't.
But now that you have this goofy thing where we're putting Doctor Who on iPlayer 18 hours before it actually gets broadcast, it's like I can't even. It's not even that I'm trying to make any excuses. I just don't know that. I have no idea how that affects it. I don't know how many fans. It
kind of does because you're gearing a show for like adults. Yeah, some people are up at work at 3 a.m. or whatever or anything.
Exactly.
But if you want the kids reviewing, like or make it like a preteen show, like they're trying to possibly do, then you have the situation where we have to put it at a time closer to when the other show airs so that we get a better rating. You know what I mean? Or air it at the same time.
Right. And you can actually have a weird situation with your overnight rating, speaking of that, where you can have a lower ranking for your overnight ratings than you do for the whole week, which doesn't seem to make any sense. But like, if it's BBC News, you're watching BBC World News, people probably aren't going to be watching that like 5 days later in the week. But Doctor Who, like, people want to make sure they see every episode. So the ratings overnight can get all screwed up in that way. Plus, it's released way ahead of time. I'm not sure, but I know that when you look at the ratings for like even when Doctor Who was more popular during the Taldi's era, during his first season, I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure the overnight ratings were just as all over the place then as they are now, as far as how they're stacking up with other programs. So that's kind of, does that answer your question at all, Christian?
Yeah, well, like I said, this is a challenge now because we can't do it on Nielsen overnight ratings now that we have a different dynamic of viewing things, and we can review it on our time. What is still considered a success? What is still considered good, or what is considered, it didn't do so well? And we can't. It's really apples and steak that we're comparing these things to now, as far as ratings are concerned.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go, oh, this series did better. And,
Did you say, what was the lowest episode?
The lowest was The Story in the Engine. It ranked at number 35.
I found that as a good episode.
Yeah, that's the catch-22 is like if you have a really good episode and people like it, then more people might tune in next week. If you have a stinker episode and then next week everyone doesn't watch and it might be really good, or you've got something weird where you're competing with football, like it's so that's why it's so weird, like how many numbers you get. Even the rankings are off, but the rating, like the raw numbers, they're especially off. There could be like a holiday and it can screw up the whole thing. So
I guess the question is, did it make money?
Yeah. And only the Mouse and BBC are going to know that, right?
Exactly, and that's what stinks. It's just like, okay, did you guys make money? Or you?
Well, eventually we'll find out the money thing as far as C goes, because BBC reports their financials publicly and to Parliament, because it is a crown corporation. So they actually report that very publicly and legally disclose it.
Isn't that at the end of the year when they do that? I know they had to do it for tax purposes, right?
Yeah. And last season, so we won't know until the end of the year for this season. But last season, Doctor Who was the most by far profitable thing that the BBC had, because they have that entire thing broken down and presented to Parliament, and that was the biggest thing was Doctor Who. Whereas when you've got something like Disney Plus, their metric is what gets returned, is returning and subscribers, and they basically and that's a really hard thing to nail down. They've got a complicated algorithm on who they think came for Doctor Who and then stayed, or came for Stranger Things and then stayed, and it's based somewhat on those viewing habits. So it's not so much that they make money on X show, because they won't. It's a streaming service. They make money in a box. Here's the streaming service for the month. So they're trying to calculate how many people they think stuck around after a show compared to their investment into the show. So a show that does amazing but has a high budget. Look at Marvel stuff lately, for example. Even the stuff that has really good results is not making a lot of money because they cost so much to put out. Doctor Who costs a fraction of what they spend
You're comparing it to the Thunderbolts, right? The way that's going on and everything because of what's going on right now.
Exactly, or even Ironheart. Right?
Oh yeah, that's Disney. That's on Disney Plus as well. I just found out about it. I didn't even know.
Yeah, they didn't do good marketing for that.
No, they didn't do all market. Even though it's been postponed for 2 years. I'm like, well, everybody knew in that regard.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be in the theaters the way they were going.
It was for a while. There was conversation about making a film, but that's another topic. But
yeah,
try to compare. Okay, who came in to watch Ironheart? They come in, they log in, they sign up. That's the first thing they watch. That's most of what they watch. what else do they, and then kind of from there, what else do they watch? And then do they stick around after the series? That's a really, really distilled version of how they calculate that. And like I said, Doctor Who costs a fraction of, because they're not the ones putting in the most of the production budget. Most of the money Disney Plus put out goes to putting it into 4K, which is the higher resolution, which is what the first time the Doctor Who's been in 4K. It's been in high def, but not in 4K until Disney Plus. But, yeah.
All right.
So that's the ratings.
Good.
That's the ratings,
Thank
and
you
that's
so
the
much.
news.
Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you so much, Sean, for giving that.
Yeah, no problem, Bob.
Okay.
And once again,
Deb,
a nice silent prayer for Beaker. And yeah, we're gonna miss that kitty. We're gonna miss him so much.
Yeah.
And if he's here, just knock the camera.
No, stop it.
We're all gonna laugh.
Keep this room up. I can't really keep this room going. Knock it off.
But that's the Who Knew News, guys, and everything. And bear with all of us. Some of us are hot as hell because summer is killing and kicking our butts.
Yeah. So with that question, why don't we go to a quick...
My fan's blowing nice. So nice.
Hey, I'm trying to deal with this.
You.
I'm trying to deal with this thing, and it all the ice melted. That was ice. That wasn't water. That was ice.
Why don't we go to our commercial break, Chris?
Yeah, let's do that. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and we're going to get. Don't forget, if you haven't already, go ahead right now and put on your episode of while we're taking commercial break. Put on your episode of what you would like to add to our starter kit for somebody who's never heard of or never seen Doctor Who. We're going to put a starter kit together for the newbies when we return. When we return.